Hello YouTube, it's Rom from Ramen Noodles TCG, and I have returned from YCS Montreal. After my return, I have just kind of been working. I've been at work, and things have been kind of stressful. So when the OTS Championships rolled around, I just decided to play one of my favorite decks. So I decided to take out Memento and play it with basically no preparation. But I like this deck a lot, and I wanted to use my max rarity core finally. So let's get into the profile, because I actually did quite well with this deck. I managed to get 4th place at the Alternate Universes Ridley OTS Championship and secure my invite to the 2027 NAWCQ. So here's the list that got me there. Starting off with the monsters, we obviously have 3 copies of Memento Tatsunuto Shigo. This guy is a free special, and it pops a memento and then sends a bunch of mementos to the graveyard. This guy gets your engine going because you dump your important graveyard mementos into the graveyard, usually your 2 level 1s, and a copy of Sleepy that you can add back later. But if this is your only starter, you go Gaddock Sleepy. 3 copies of Memento Anguish. She is your primary normal summon. She's the Searcher, who also revives from grave. Yeah, and she's a, pretty little spellcaster here. Suspicious spellcaster. No particular reason I'm pointing that out. You'll see later. I'm playing 2 copies of Memento Dark Blade. This is your secondary normal summon. So usually people don't like to normal summon Dark Blade. They'd rather access it later in the combo. And yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes you just need to pop one of your own guys. So Dark Blade is going to do that for you. Dark Blade pairs a little bit better with some of your breakers because it gets Sleepy online immediately, whereas normal Anguish does not get Sleepy online immediately. You have to go for Tatsu, but if you have a monster on board, you can't Tatsu, so it sort of conflicts with your Super Poly there. So yeah, I mean, two Dark Blade, I think, is correct here. Also, there's a lot of Light and Darkness Ritual around, so just having a guy that happens to pop back row is pretty nice in Engine. Playing 2 copies of Goblin as the tertiary normal summon. You don't really want to be normal summoning this, but it's a usable normal summon. It's basically just like Tatsu as a normal. But it's not as flexible. The reason we're playing 2 is because there's an extender that summons this from deck, but you need 1 in deck to actually summon with it. So, yeah, that's why I'm playing 2. I am playing 2 Sleepy. So I'm playing 2 Sleepy because Ghost Ogre is everywhere in the format, so Sleepy will naturally be live. It's nice to just have a second one. You can keep 1 in grave and then search another one later. I'm not playing Horn Dragon, so I want another name to keep in grave, so I'm opting for a second Sleepy there. Just for like revive shenanigans. Most of the time you're reviving Anguish, but like you can revive Sleepy for some specific plays, so yeah, I mean, that comes up. Also, when you put Sleepy in the graveyard, if your opponent bells one of your effects to add back, or crows the Sleepy, you want to have a second one, so yeah, that's why I'm playing 2. Also, there's like 2 card combos where you have to normal summon Sleepy and then pop it with like a spell card or something, and then you go full combo. It's a scuffed line, but it works. So yeah, 2 Sleepy. Obviously, we have the 1 Gaddock. This is the Garnet. It's not a hard Garnet, but if your only starter is Goblin, then yeah, the Gaddock is a Garnet. Because if you draw the Gaddock, you have to resolve Anguish to revive a guy from grave to get your plays going, or one of your spells, or Dark Blade to get Sleepy online, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. The 1 Mace, this is a Searcher and a Snatch Steal. It's the worst starter in the deck. I would barely consider this a starter. The board this makes is pretty bad, but it's obviously really important for searching your Momentoland spells. We have some hella strong spells, so we need to get this into rotation, usually dumped off of Tatsu, and then summoned with Anguish or summoned off of Darkblade later in the turn, popping a Memento to search a spell. Yeah. I'm not playing any of the Memento traps. You can technically side those, but I think I have better side deck cards I can be playing. So yeah, no traps. I'm playing, obviously, the big guy, Combined Creation. I need to get a real CR. I have the freaking PCR. I sold my CR. I need to buy another one, but yeah. Not maxed yet, but hopefully someday soon. Aki Hirin for recycling, obviously. This guy lets you attack directly. On summon, it lets your Combined Creation attack directly alongside your big fusion. And yeah, when it's popped, it recycles. This is how you recycle banished cards, which is pretty important. Yeah, those are the Mementoland monsters here. For the spell cards, I am obviously playing the one Memento Mithlan. Yeah, the field spell is really important for recycling. It resets your stuff at end phase, so you always have like follow-up plays, and you have a pretty layered board. The great thing about Memento is that you get to play a lot on your opponent's turn. Yeah, just like, and Mithlan is a big part of that. Being able to summon from hand or grave when a guy is popped is pretty nice. Yeah. We are playing the most powerful extenders in the game. Bone Party and Fusion. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but these cards are insane. Yeah, Bone Party is busted, and so is Fusion. A lot of decks have extenders that are also starters. These are not starters, but, I mean, they're still really damn good. Being able to shuffle back from graveyard is broken. Being a searcher that can search itself is broken. Bone Party, just bone partying, summoning a guy from deck, popping, that gets all your stuff online. It's very, very good. Yeah, never leave the house without 3 of each. Yeah. 2 Breakout. This is an honorary Memento extender. It summons Mementoland Goblin from the deck. It helps you dodge targeted hand traps. When they imperm your Tatsu, do not chain Breakout. The Tatsu will resolve, popping your Goblin, forcing you to send Mace. So you wait to do that on res. But yeah, I mean, this helps you extend. I don't think 3 is necessary. I found that there's a lot less targeting in the format, so a lot of times I'm just siding this out going second. Playing into a board, this is not that good, but yeah, still a very good card. As you noticed, we're playing a lot of quick play spells, so I am leaning into that with 3 copies of Radiant Typhoon Vision. Droll is everywhere in the format, so having a quick play draw spell is really nice. You can just chain to the Droll to get some last minute card advantage generation. You really, really want to see your extenders here, because if you get Drolled, it's very hard to find the extenders. The spells are really what makes your board so strong. And losing access to them is very difficult. If you don't open one of these spell extenders, the only real way to get to it through Droll is by dumping it off of, by dumping it to the graveyard and then adding it back with Gaddock or Aki Hirin, which is a little bit unfortunate. Very difficult to pull off because you rely so much on your fusion search, just as a pop, as part of your combo. So if you started with Darkblade and then you get Drolled on like an Anguish search, it gets kind of awkward because you kind of run out of stuff to pop, if that makes sense, during your line after you get to Aki Hirin. Like after you Goblin send your Aki Hirin, you sort of start running out of stuff to pop because you can't Twin Dragon search, you can't Fusion search, so yeah, you're running out of stuff to trigger the Aki Hirin itself, so. Yeah, so alongside that, I'm playing Board Breakers. I'm playing 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is really good against Cool Tune. It's really good against Branded. It's decent against some variants of Light and Darkness. Yeah, Super Poly is just really good. The only issue with Super Poly is that it's kind of awkward with some of your starters. Because Tatsu requires your board to be only mementos, it gets really funky there. You have to Tatsu effect chain Super Poly, but if your opponent has an Omni Negate for the Tatsu, it kind of sucks, because then you kind of have to waste your Tatsu. Or, if you start with Anguish and you have to go Anguish search Tatsu, that really sucks, because, like, Super Poly doesn't... You can't Super Poly until after you resolve the Tatsu, which sucks. So, yeah. But there's really nice Super Poly targets. We have, like, some pseudo in-engine ones, which is really nice. Yeah, I'll talk about that when I get to the extra, but yeah. I am playing 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. A very powerful board breaker, helps break big combo boards. And we have a ton of spells that we can send for Droplet for that free value. Yeah. I couldn't find space for a third one. I'm trying to keep this deck pretty close to 40. I'm playing 3 copies of The Fallen and the Virtuous. So this card is incredibly flexible, and it's very good in Memento. This is actually one of the ways you can pop your own stuff to trigger stuff like Akihiran when you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Triggering Akihiran under Droll when you can't do like the Twin Search or the Fusion Search is pretty good. Triggering Sleepy to send from deck to grave is pretty important. Like, this plus Sleepy is full combo. It's really stupid, but yes, it is full combo. Let me know if you guys want a combo guide, by the way. I've been getting a lot of requests for various combo guides, and I'd love to do one on Memento. So just let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see that, and I will make one eventually. Yeah. That's it for the breakers. On to the hand traps. For the hand traps, I am playing 5 in the main deck. I am playing 3 copies of Molcharmi Fualos and 2 copies of Molcharmi Perulia. So I actually experienced some controversy at the OTS Championship. My deck list said 3 copies of Molcharmi Perulia. I only had 2, because when I was taking the Perulias out of my other deck, I only took 2. So I had a deck list error the whole day. I brought a paper deck list with me, so I had the paper deck list correct. I corrected it after I submitted my digital deck list. So, like, I was able to deflect any accusations of cheating or something. I don't know. Nobody actually accused me of cheating, but it could have happened. Especially from some unsavory individuals. But regardless, I'm playing the Molcharmis. They're very good going second. And Memento is very much a breaker-style deck. We don't have room for hand traps, so we just have to play the Molcharmis and break boards like that. I'm playing a bunch of hand traps in the side deck, though. Moving on to the extra deck for the Memento Fusions, I am playing the 1 Twin Dragon and 2 copies of the King. So Twin Dragon is the double searcher that also revives. Usually you make this off of Sleepy, but in desperate situations you can make this off of Fusion. The King is just Dark Matter Dragon. This card is, like, giga broken. Just being able to send 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard is insane. Yeah, and also, it banishes itself from the graveyard to search your Mixlon. So sometimes you send a second King, sometimes you don't. I'll talk about that in a little bit when I talk about the other fusions here. It's also a quick effect pop. It pops a bunch of cards. It's excellent. Yeah. So for the other fusion monsters I'm playing the 1 Dragos Tapelia, an honorary Memento fusion. You make this with Mementoidland fusion on your opponent's turn. I'm playing Baphomet, King of Phantom Beasts. So I did add the Baphomet back in. This is a really nice way to layer your board. Basically, in lines where you go Creation King, send 3 main deck monsters to the graveyard, you want to fuse into Baphomet. So you banish the Fusion Summoned Creation King for the Mictlan, and then when you link this off, after summoning it, you can revive the banished Creation King on your opponent's turn. Pretty nifty stuff there. And for some new cards, I am playing Mixuzia the Confounder and Hyper Invoked Aeon. So Mixuzia the Confounder is really, really, really good in Memento. You just use Anguish plus anything. You can make this via basically any method. You can fusion summon, I guess, except Sleepy. I mean, it's Memento Fusion is the main way, but there's actually another way in the extra that I'll talk about. But the idea behind Mixuzia the Confounder is you basically make this off of Memento Fusion or Super Poly. You can Super Poly into this, which is really, really nice. And then on your opponent's turn, you can banish itself and then your 2 Memento Fusions that you shuffle back and then remake on your opponent's turn, because that's just kind of how this deck rolls. You almost always shuffle back the Twin Dragon for the combined creation, but sometimes you leave the Creation King engraved. Maybe about half the time you leave 1 engraved. I still don't think that you need to play 3 King. Don't play 3 King. But yeah, you shuffle this back, make it again with Sleepy on your opponent's turn, and then when your opponent is getting close to cracking your board, you go bam, Mixuzia into Aeon, banish 3, rip 3 from the extra, game over. Yeah. You can also make Aeon with Memento Fusion. So in like a turn 3 scenario, you just kind of make a random fusion monster like this, and then you go activate Memento Fusion, fuse 1 random fusion from field, and then shuffle these 2 back into the deck, and then you Aeon your opponent and then OTK. That's like a nice way to clear a board on a crackback. Speaking of fusion summoning, I have 2 Super Poly targets here. Garura and Muddragon are very generic, but sometimes you actually will make these with Memento Fusion. It is a very sad day, but sometimes if your hand is like this, if you have this kind of hand, you can activate Memento Fusion, make Garura, go Fusion pop the Garura to search, and then you combo like this. Because the Aki comes back, then you grab Bone Party pop the Aki, and then you're gaming. Yeah, this is Memento, all right. Yeah, let's move on. For the final fusion, I'm playing Albion the Branded Dragon and Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon for Fallen and the Virtuous. And now for my Link monsters, I am playing 3 Link 2s. I'm playing SP Little Knight, Herald of Mirage Lights, and Proxy F Magician. Now, Proxy F Magician is another way to fusion summon. Basically, it uses materials from your field to fusion summon. So you fuse this off with Anguish to make Mixuzia. That's pretty neat. This is also another way to make Berfomet. You have like 4 materials on board. You link 2 of them off for Berfomet, or for the Proxy F, and then you Proxy F into Berfomet, and then you can link off into your big link for Abao Aku, the Lightless Shadow. This card is really nice. I like this card a lot. She's very neat. She has a lot of cool stuff, just reviving, popping, you know, just kind of being a vibe. This card is largely unnecessary, though. I like it a lot, but you probably don't need it. Mirage Lights is a spell trap negate. You make it with 2 Dark Fiends or 2 copies of Anguish. SP Little Knight is the GOAT, just a very flexible card, a Swiss Army knife, if you will. So the extra probably has a few flex slots. You can probably cut these. Nobody's playing Nibiru right now, so you can probably play IP Masquerena if you want to. You can play IP Masquerena, you can play Underworld Goddess as an IP target, or you can play Gorgon of Zilophthonia as another IP target. Those are pretty neat. Yeah, I would definitely consider those for your Memento deck. Also, you don't need Guardian Chimera or Chaos Angel. Those are cool cards, but like, they don't come up that much. If you're playing them, you can try cutting them. You probably won't miss it. All right, on to the side deck. Here are the promised side deck hand traps. I'm playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, and 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Now, originally the Ghost Bells were backer removal, and then I decided last minute that people have been playing DD Crow a lot more, so I wanted to play Ghost Bell to help fight against the Crows. Yeah, Ghost Bell's pretty good. It's good against Branded. It's good against Light and Darkness Ritual. It's good against it's playable against Cool Tune, but you don't want to side it in against Cool Tune. Yeah, I mean, Bell is just a solid hand trap. Ash is very flexible, but you almost always just bring this in going first. Memento is, once again, not a very hand trap dense strategy, and hand traps are only super good if you draw them in multiples most of the time. So, yeah, we can really only afford to put these in going first for the most part. Obviously, Droll is the exception. It's very powerful. In the matchups it's good against, you know, beats all the 60-card piles. It's really, really bad against Branded and not good against Cool Tune, but I mean, it's all right into a lot of other stuff. It functions against Elf Notes. Oh yeah, Bell is also pretty good against Elf Notes. Yeah, that's pretty important too. Yeah. Maybe another hand trap I would consider is Ghost Over. That's pretty good right now. That is something that I definitely could see playing. Maybe over some of the other cards that I'm about to talk about, but yeah, moving on from the hand traps, I am playing 2 copies of a Pot of Sloth for going second. Once again, a breaker strategy like Memento loves a card like Pot of Sloth. Being able to Pot of Sloth into breakers is very, very powerful. Also, being able to Pot of Sloth, put back the Gaddock is so peak. Just being able to shuffle that stupid Gaddock back into the deck is great. Also, the nice piece of tech you can do is you can activate Pot of Sloth, you can draw into Super Polymerization, and then after resolving the Pot of Sloth, with turn player priority, you can slam down the Super Poly, and then your opponent cannot draw you because they can't respond to Super Poly. Same thing with Forbidden Droplet. Or the next card, Forbidden Crown. Forbidden Crown is very good in Memento. Memento is arguably one of the decks that makes the best use of Crown, other than maybe Striker. The fact that you can crown your opponent and still kill them is excellent because we are a direct attacking strategy. We can do that. It's pretty good. I didn't want to main these. I've been kind of underwhelmed by Forbidden Crown over the past month or so. It's really only insane against Cool Tune, and it's just okay against everything else. But it's a fine breaker in a lot of matchups. At least for Memento, we can use it as a breaker. So, yeah, it's fine. For more going first cards, I am playing 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Didn't have space to fit this in my 41-card main deck, but I would definitely consider it. 2 copies of Solemn Accusation and 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. These guys are here to negate board breakers, because those are pretty good. Other cards you can consider are stuff like Evenly Matched. That's pretty good right now. It doesn't beat, like, the slop boards that have a bunch of negates, but, I mean, you can, like, evenly chain Droplet is pretty good. You can Super Poly, crash your Super Poly target then evenly. That kind of stuff is fine. That should be pretty good for you. So, yeah, my matchups, I played against a couple Cool Tune, a couple Elf Note, a couple, well, 1 Dice Striker, Dark Lord. That was mostly it. Yeah, Striker, Dark Lord, Elf Nodes, Cool Tune. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, Sacred Beast. I played against Sacred Beast as well. Yeah, I think a lot of people were very unfamiliar with Memento, and that definitely helped me a lot. This deck has been fringe playable for a long time, but it's been out of the public consciousness for a while, including my own, to be honest. I've really missed this deck. I like it a lot. And I'll definitely consider more Memento content if you guys are interested. So, yeah, if you guys want to see that, leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe for more content. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.